Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to do a circuit tutorial of how to make a Five Nights at Freddy's AI. Now, as you can see, I'm in a map already. This is not mine. I am using this invention from this creator. You can search them up and get it yourself, use it yourself. I don't take any credit for the map, but I'm going to be doing circuits to show you how to make a FNAF game. Now, I wouldn't advise stealing or using the map without giving the creator proper credits. I'm going to just hop in and explain how to make a basic AI using this map. Okay, so upon having your map, it would be recommended that you have somewhere where you can place your circuits. I'm going to be using the sandbox wall. Now, for some of the chips I'm going to be using, you need beta content. So you want to open your watch, go to this room, scroll down, or you don't want to scroll down yet. You want to click into settings. In the main settings, you want to scroll down until you see allow creative tools beta content. This must be enabled or else you won't have some of the chips. Enabling it will require you to save your room. Now, once you have it, we're going to want to get started with a system to start your game. We'll just use a basic interaction volume. Or you can even use a interaction volume v2 to hold it. For now, we're just going to do a basic interaction volume. Now, we're going to make a system to detect how we're basically just gonna make a system where if you click it, it locks it and then starts the night. So, what you want to do is recommend having it on surface so your circuits are more organized. You want to get a bool variant or a bool variable. So on use, it's going to run through your bool variable. Don't make it caught or anything. Just take that and just wire your output of your bool variable to your input of your bool variable. Then just name it something that you'll remember. We'll just do night started. Now, what you're going to want to do is you want to get an if chip out. Then what you're going to want to do is just wire it outside of your bool variable. Take the output of your little bool variable and wire it to the input of your if chip. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to clone your little variable twice. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to make it to where the then is wired into the top and then your else is wired into your bottom one. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to say, hey, is the night running on the player starting? And what it'll do is if it's clicked properly, if it's clicked, it'll run through this. If the night's false, what it's going to do is it's going to set it to true. And if it's true, whenever it's pressed, it'll set it to false. And then there's gonna be another system. Whenever you could have the on room loaded or resetting, it'll unlock it, which we'll go over here shortly. Then you just want to get an interaction volume set locked. What you want to do is you want to take your little input from over here and just wire that to that. Then take both of your outputs and wire it to that. So basically you want the output of your first bool variable to go into your set locked. You want your target to be your interaction volume that you're having it lock. So you have a basic start night system. Well, you don't have everything else, which we'll set up here shortly. Upon clicking it, you'll notice I can't click it anymore. It's locked. Then what we're going to do is I'm just going to send an output to click it again. So now it's usable again. So, upon setting locked, we're going to get a delay. This is going to be the night system and how your night works. So, your delays you want on each of these chips, you want it to be based on your nights. So, we're going to take this delay here. We're going to set it to 90. As I believe in Five Nights at Freddy's lore accurate, other than FNAF 4, every night is 90 seconds. So, however many hours, there's usually about 6 hours instead of Five Nights at Freddy's. I believe you want to get 6 delays, so we're just going to clone it down. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So what you want to do is after your delays, you just want to keep running them through your delays right here. Then for instance, let's see, does this have a clock in here? Okay, so this room does not have a clock, but if you create your own clock, which is what we're going to do here, using a CV2 text, you can place it anywhere. I'm going to place it on this screen here. Now, I'm not going to make it super fancy, super organized or anything, as this is just for video purposes, and I will not be publishing this room. So just place it somewhere you're familiar with. And if your game is going to be dark, I'd highly recommend making your text neon so the player can see it. Configure your text board, make it detached, grab your board, your circuit board to that, and then just bring it over here. This is essential. Now, you can just delete all the board content inside of your text, as you won't need any of it. You'll just need the main little circuit part. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a bunch of text set texts. I clicked text set color accidentally. You just want to do text set text. Unless you want, you could do whatever. Yeah, but every time it runs a minute, what it's going to do is it's going to set the timer or the clock. I might have too many delays here. That's fine. We can remove it afterwards. It all really just depends on how your nights work. So you just want to take your targets of all your text set texts and wire that to your text. So what you want to do upon your very first text text, it's going to be the night start. So it's going to set it to 12. Or no, it's going to be set to 12 by default. So what you want to do, you come over to your text, configure your text, and make sure by default it says 12. Then you come back over to your circuits and you want to make it to where whenever wait a minute, I did a whoopsie here. Okay, so we can keep that as 12 because just to like ensure and lock if it resets or anything. You want that at 1, you want this at 2, you want this at 3, you want this to be 4, then you want this to be 5. Now, because of the certain clock we are using, and because I made a little bit of a whoopsie, just go ahead and clone your text and your delay down one more time, and then do a 6 for 6 a.m. Now, depending on your clock, some of your clocks you might want to put another 0 in front of your basic number, so it gives it more of the aesthetic vibe that it's an actual real clock. Now, if at any point in time I'm going too quick for you or you don't understand, you can feel free to pause it and come back. If you have any questions or anything about any of the circuits I'm doing, or something's not working, you can always feel free to leave it in the comments. I try my best to respond to all of the comments. Now, this is the basic system. So whenever your night starts, it'll lock the volume, not allowing the player to start the night again, so it's not looping it, and then it'll play a delay. So then every 90 seconds, or equivalent to your night, when it's done, it'll hit through here, it'll detect that it runs, it'll change its time, and then it'll run another delay, so on and so forth. Now, this fully works. You have a working night clock system. Now, what you want to do is you want to come down here. Now, I'm not going to exactly go into crazy detail with it or anything. I'm just going to say what you can do. So, at 6 a.m., you can have your execute come out, and this will come into something later to stop all the AI from working. But you can have it to where it plays a sound, or it teleports them to a subroom, or it seats them somewhere else whenever your night's over. So, if you followed along correctly throughout this whole thing, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Now, we're going to move on, and we're going to set up basic animatronic AI. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come back into our map. I'm going to grab my Freddy model. Make sure it's my proper one. Yes, this one's mine. Okay. Here, let me change the price of this. So if you want, you can use my Freddy model. Only 250 tokens. I know, pricey, but model is a model. We're going to want to spawn any type of model in that you want. Now, I'm not going to go into crazy detail with how to pose and animate everything properly. But yes, this AI does teleport as well, mind you, so it is heavily recommended that any cameras you have kind of go black or staticky for a second so they don't see it. Now, the one reason that we needed beta content was the animation controllers. You want to go ahead and place animation controllers in certain spots that your character would want to go. Place one there. Now, heavily recommended that you configure your animation gizmo, turn off looping, and then name your circuit board to something that you'll remember. Now, if you're doing multiple animatronics, it is best that you name it according to their name and then whatever the animation or wherever their idle pose is going to play. Now, because this is where Freddy's going to be on stage, this is just called Freddy Stage. We're going to keep the circuit board there for now, but you just want to, again, detach it from the circuit board, or detach it from the object. This one, you can keep its circuit board. I'll kind of show you why a little later. But what you're going to want to do, I'm not 100,000% sure on all of the positions where Freddy goes in FNAF 4. I haven't played in a while, or FNAF 4, FNAF 1. Now, there is no parts in service, so it's quite irritable for me not to be able to do that. There's also not a lot of prompts in here either, but we're just going to go off of what we have. So, yeah, there's also no bathroom. So, just for instance, I'm going to do animations here, there, here, and here. So, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 animations. Again, you just want to name all of your animations. This one I'll just call Freddy Middle, because it's the middle of the pizzeria. This one you'll want to call, like, because this is just to act like there's a bathroom here. We're just going to call this Freddy Bathroom. Also, heavily recommended because you're spawning in new ones. It's recommended that you detach and turn off looping. If you don't detach the circuit board and turn off looping, you can lose your circuit board in your map. Or if it has the looping, the issue is it'll constantly play in a position and he won't move forward. We're just going to do Freddy Start Hall because he's at the start of the hallway. I'm going to name this one here Freddy in Corner, and then this one will be Freddy at Door. Now, yes, there's probably a bunch of other positions, like he probably teleports here in the middle of the hallway as well, but I'm just doing some basic simple ones. So, if all of your animations are configured with looping off, and all of your circuit boards are detached, you should be fairly fine and you won't have any issues setting everything else up. Alright, so now, you're just going to want to grab your circuit boards in order, Freddy Stage, plop it somewhere on your circuit wall. Let's say he can move between the middle and the bathroom. So this is what I would do to keep your circuits more organized. For instance, say you want it randomized to between two spots. You want those lined up next to each other so you don't forget where he goes at certain times. Now, then he would move to the start hall. Then he would move to the corner. Yeah, I know he has probably a middle hall, but I'll show you how to add more onto your animations, or you can add even more than I'm doing. Then you have Freddy at Door. Now, this should be all of our animations. We've got 6 here. Now, you want it to where, after your text is set properly, you're going to have another delay. But before you run your delay, what you're going to want to do you're going to want to have a random float wired into that instead. This will detect and place how quick it wants to pick its selection. Now, we're going to make it to where he can move between 5-second intervals and 10-second intervals, just to make him a little quicker. So, the variable runs into the delay, and a float runs into this. Then what we'll do is clone this upwards. And then do the same thing, do that. So then what it'll do is it'll constantly loop that, and then we're just going to want it to run back into that float there. So then, after its delay, what we're going to want to do is we're just going to move these over really quickly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to want to get something that can place hold your tags. For example, I'm going to use a vector component. Now, tags, you could probably do roles, but I'm going to use tags as I've found it easier and I've personally done it in my games. Now, with this, you can go ahead and delete its board content as well. You don't need the board content. Come down to your vector component. Just keep everything same. You just want to remove the current tags, hashtag vector. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to get has tag and spawn in as many has tags as you have for all of these. Now, if it's 2 different places, you only need 1 has tag. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we need 5 has tag chips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we just want the vector component to be detected if it has the tag. Now, these tags can be anything. For just as of now, I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then what you're going to want to do is afterwards, you're going to want to have an if chip wired into those has tags. Then, after your delay here, you want it to run through your if chip. Then, you're just going to want all of your else's to run into your other if chips. Or wait. Okay, wait, no, I'm being insanely goofy. You don't need all that. Okay. So, with all these has tags, it's going to detect it's false. You want the trues wired to the ifs, not the elses. So then, upon else, because it's going to detect this one isn't false, so if it runs through, it's going to detect this is false, then it's going to want to add the tag to it and then do its movement. So the next time it runs, it's going to say, oh, it has this tag, it's going to run through this if, and then it'll detect its movement as well, same, so on and so forth. So for your first thing, you just want to do add tag, wire that to your else, take your vector component, or whatever your tag holder is, and wire that to your target. Tag that as 1, as because that is the very first movement, and that's equivalent to your tag here. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get an animation play. Wire that to your add tag. Take your animator and wire that to the little top part of your animation. Now, before any of that, you're going to want to, you don't need to worry about anything else. Actually, you know what, you can go ahead and then just delete all of the board content, unless you want to do something specific with these animations. But you don't need any of the content unless you're wanting like animations to play quicker or play slower. But we're just going to use simple events, so we don't need all of the board content. So upon it detecting, running through all of its delay systems, it's going to add the tag. Then it's going to play. So if I run through and it detects Freddy, it's going to play him. Wait a minute, this is the stage. We don't need his stage animation to play. Okay, well, I did a whoopsie. So, wherever this is, we're just going to... His stage is definitely necessary and needed because this is where he starts. But the one oopsie I made is you don't need hit that first at all. So, because this one is a double one, what we're going to want to do is we're going to grab a random int. Then we're going to wire that to your add tag. Have it 0 and 1. Get an execution integer switch. Wire that to the output. Configure your execution integer switch. Do a 0 and a 1 as your values. Take the output value of the random int, wire that into that. Grab 2 animation plays because it's 2 different things. Say for instance, if you had 4 you wanted to randomly pick from on a certain movement, just do 0 to 4, have that match up to 0 to 4, and then 4 animation plays. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take that animation, wire it to that one, and then this one, and wire it to that. Oh, and actually, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to come back over here to reset. To have your animatronic reset, we're going to get a simple event receiver. Put it somewhere that you'll remember. And then have it line either player joined or room loaded. So, upon room loading, you're going to want to have it play your default animation. And then what you could also do for other animatronics is you can have it run through all of their defaults so they all spawn back at spawn. Then you can have it activate any of your other music or anything else afterwards. We're just going to take this and then we're going to place it over here. Okay, so coming back over here, you're going to want your 0 wired into whatever animation, and same with your 1. So now, if it adds this tag whenever it's appropriate to move, it'll pick a random spot for him to go, either between Freddy in the middle of the place or Freddy at the bathroom. Let's organize this a little bit. Okay. So, we're just going to take these and place them in the slots appropriately next to their animation plays, so wires aren't all over the place. Now, for the next movement, you want to detect where he wants to go next. So, Freddy at the start of the hallway. We're going to bring this down, get an animation player. Oh wait, first we're going to want to get tag. Basically, you just want to make this entire system, unless, so because this is a single move and his position isn't random, that's not needed. Unless you want him to be certain different poses randomly, then you can add more. But for now, we're just going to run that to that, have that as 2, and then wire that to the vector component. Let's go ahead and do add tags for the rest of your system here. Have all of your else's run into the add tags. Have all your targets run into your vector component or your tag holder. Change all your add tags appropriately to your has tag chips. Okay, so coming back up here, because it's a simple movement and it's a singular movement and we don't need a lot of different things, we're just going to have it wired like this. So what it's going to do is it's going to spawn Freddy in the middle if his second thing's active, or at the start of the hallway. And then just so on and so forth, just do the same thing for the rest of them. Boom. And boom. See, now, you might have come to the issue that I also just came to, because my math was a little wrong. I have an extra animation here. This animation is actually good, and it's going to be needed here, and I'll explain why. So, we'll want to go ahead and your 5th tag here, this will be your jump scare, which I'm not really going to set up an actual jump scare today, but instead have an add tag, And then for however long you want the animatronic to be at the door before it kills the player. We're going to do 5 seconds. Whenever its delay is done, it's going to play the animation. And let's get a placeholder animation gizmo. And then just wire that to that. Configure this to jump scare. Detach it. Delete all of its contents. Place this in place. Now the reason I say detaching is important is because look, I can move this with the circuit board staying the same. Now, oh, that's the wall, let's not do that. Now, for the jump scare purposes, we're just going to place it here in the office next to the door. Okay, so what you're going to also want to do, because this is basically your entire system done here. What you're going to want to do though is we're going to set up the system to where you can send Freddy back if you close the door on him in time. So we're going to go ahead and get a basic button. Let's use a toggle button for instance, because a toggle button I feel like would fit more for a door. So on pressed, what it's going to do, it's going to has tag. So if the button is, what we're going to do is we're going to make it to where it's detecting your vector component. If it has the tag, which the tag is going to be 4, right? Oh no, the tag is going to be 5, sorry. As it's the tag before the jump scare. Going to want to run it through an if chip. Then just have it to where on pressed, it's going to do that. Now, you also might notice there's a system here where if it's pressed, it's true, and then if it's unpressed, it's false. So, you're going to have another if chip here on your is pressed. We're going to bring that here. So, if the door isn't currently pressed, which is false, it's going to activate the delay. Here is where it's going to get a little messy, as the circuits are kind of crossing over. You're going to want a remove tags. Right. So then you're going to want to take the target, put it through the vector. I need my notifications off. Sorry, friend. I'm making a video right now. So then we're going to want to get a list, just to hold all of our tags, so I don't have to do anything crazy. Add as many lists as many tags you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just going to remove all of those tags if it's true. So active, and whenever it plays, it's going to do that. Now, if it has the tag, which is very important here, if it's pressed and it has the tag, the condition is set to false as of now, because it doesn't have the tag. If it's true, however, and the button's pressed, you want it to remove its tags. Then this is here where the idle animation comes into play. Now, you can just take this system and then wire it to your animation play, as long as nothing else is wired here. But if you want other things wired, which you just want to do, let's grab another animation play, have remove tag, play back him at stage. So what this is doing here is upon pressing it, or if it's always pressed and he teleports to the door, and if he's at your door, it'll detect, hey, the button's pressed, send him back, and it'll send him back. Or, as you can see the system here, it won't even give him his tag first. If it's true, it's not going to send him here. Or if it's true, it's going to just remove all of the tags, and it's not going to send the thing to the delay, making it to where it can kill you. It'll cancel it out, and then it'll start it Because it's going to remove all its tags, it's going to go right back up to here with its has tag, and it's going to run through the whole system again until he's at the door and you close it on him again. So, that's basically the system, but we're going to show you it in working progress. Now, yes, the system seems done, but there could be flaws or things that I maybe have even missed, so we're going to go ahead and give it a try. Now, I forgot to mention earlier, you need all of your animations wired up to your model, which should be fairly obvious because you need it to animate your character in certain positions. Now that he's wired to all positions, what you're going to want to do is for each animation, you want to edit it and put them in certain poses. Because I'm on screen mode, and it's actually quite difficult to pose things on screen mode, for me at least, I'm a VR builder, I'm going to leave him in a T-pose. So, for every animation, he's going to be at where he originally was. But, for here, I want him to move. I'm just going to move him in a T-pose format. You can pose him however you want, so he's got spookier, or chi, or whatever model you're doing, spookier essence of moving. You know, for here, I'm just going to do something very simple. I'm just going to make it to where his head kind of... Oh, I'm on surface. His head just kind of rotates, because, yes. Okay, so upon your other animations, you'll notice he kind of snaps back to where he was originally, which is perfectly fine. The other animations won't delete as long as you save them. Now, just move him over here. Make sure he's on the ground, or whatever you're using is on the ground properly. Place him wherever, pose him however. I'm just going to rotate him slightly. You can tell I'm not really putting a lot of effort into it because I'm not really making this a public thing. This is just showing you guys how to do it. Select your entire model again in your next few animations. Basically do that, so on and so forth for all of your animations. I will be right back when this is done. Okay, I'm coming back right here because I'm fully done with this thing. Something that you want to do that I forgot to mention earlier is if your player's in a seat the entire game, that's great because you're going to need a seat. So, you're going to want to add your seat to the jump scare animation. Now, I know I'm not putting a lot of effort into the animation because it's kind of how it's supposed to be, or, well, tutorial, as I said. I'm not going to have a lot of details. I'm just going to make it to where when he teleports in here, picks you up. You know, because I'm so lazy, I'm just going to make it to where the chair moves a little bit. And his whole model just does the Whatnam Gangnam style, like upside down. Alright, perfect, bro. Perfect animate. Perfect jump scare right there. Alright. So, then you want to just take your seat. I know this is kind of like, if you're using a seat for jump scares, wire it back to your animation over here. Have it to where when Freddy spawns on default, which is the room, like whenever the room's loaded, it'll spawn your seat back to normal, wherever your player is positioned at. Now, this is probably a bad spot for the office because the switches are like all the way over there, yada yada yada. Or your game might be free roam, but you want to use a seat in general. If you're not using a seat for your game and it's free roam, just place the seat on the placeholder outside the map so it only teleports in when needed. Okay. Also, to hide your seat so the player doesn't see it, just configure it and then turn on visible only when components are visible. I'm just going to place that over here. Keep all the circuits organized. Alright, so now our Freddy should be fully working and functional. Let's go ahead and make sure this toggle button is detached. And I'm going to move the button over to the office. Okay, so to make it more into the aesthetic, we're going to go into this room, settings, the sub room, configure it, and we're just going to turn it to outer space. It's already got some pre-lighting in here, so it's pretty spooky already. Spooky spaghetti. Alright. So, the entire game should be fully done and fully functional. Well, not like the full FNAF remake, but you get what I mean. Your AI for just one. Now, let me bring this over here. I forgot to make that detach, which is why it's great to have your circuits detached, so it doesn't fly your components around when you need to place them in appropriate spots. Now, to do other animatronics, the only system you need to clone over again, I would say, is your random float and then everything after it. So all of it, like all the animations and everything else, like all of this here, needs to be cloned up again. So everything from the random float all the way to this needs to be cloned over again. Now with this here, you could just run the else, or you can just, yeah, you get what I mean, basically. Just to add more, you just make more. Yeah, but basically, because I'm like stuttering my words right now, just make the whole system again, but for a different animatronic. Alright, well, let's start it up, shall we? See if I did anything wrong, and if I did anything wrong, I will walk through the process, because I know everybody's probably following along. So, it's started. He should be moving eventually. Let's keep an eye on him, shall we? Probably should have made his move. Oh, there he goes moving already. See, there you go. He's moved in the middle and tilting. Oh, there he goes again. Oh, he's in the hallway now. Yeah, no, the AI is always random based on your time that you put into it. Oh, he's in the corner now. Sit down in the seat so I can experience. See, I can send him back. Or does it not? Uh-oh. He might have an issue. Uh-oh. We may have an issue. Yeah, that was my jump scare. Not very crazy. Okay, so, for some odd reason, he never teleported back. Let's figure out why. There's no logs. Ooh, that could... No, I don't think that's it. So if he has to, if it does have the tag, it's supposed to remove all the tags. Let's go ahead and give it a reset. I think we might have had a little bit of an issue. Just gonna run a room loaded so he's set back to normal. We're gonna start the night again. That might be why he's moving so quickly. Okay. So what you're going to want to do is after the animation plays, you're going to wire that into the cancel of the delay for the jump scare. That might be the issue we're having here. I'll go ahead and run it again. Try to run that again. He's back to normal. Start up the night. So wait for him to move. While he's moving, let's double check to make sure. Also, what we're going to do is we're just going to take the remove tags and wire that to the animation play, because it seems like whenever he resets, he doesn't lose all of his tags, which is probably messing him up a little. Oh, yeah, I don't know why he's zooming like that. Let's just say I have the door closed. He's not... Oh, wait, no, he did. He went away. We fixed it, guys. He went away. He's kind of zooming, though. Because the door is closed, yeah. Alright, well, because it detects the door is closed. Alright, so the only issue in why it's going so quickly is because of the random, this delay here, which you can fix yourself. The only reason he's moving so quickly is because I need that for testing purposes and stuff like that. Okay, also, if you notice, because I start the night, this clock works as well. So yeah, you have a fully functioning AI system here, all done. Yeah, I had a bit of issues, which was fixed by just wiring the animation play to the cancel of the delay, and then you also needed to make it to where on that animation play it removes all of its tags, because it had all the tags, so it was trying to render it all. Let's go over the whole system one more time, just so you're not confused and you understand how the entire thing works, because I kind of had a little bit of a kerfuffle. So, upon the interaction volume being used, it'll run through a bool variable. It'll detect if it's true or false, and if it's true, it'll set the bool to false, and if it's false, it'll set it to true. It'll set the interaction volume locked, and then it'll start the night. And then it'll set all of your texts to the appropriate time after those delays of your appropriate time. And then that's the text component wired into those targets. Afterwards, it's going to set your random float, which this is how fast you want the AI to move. You can have it between any intervals. I have mine between 5 and 10-second intervals because this is just testing and I want him to go as quickly as possible. You can set it longer so he doesn't move as fast. You can have it to where it randomizes so it doesn't move as fast. It'll loop through 2 delays forever depending on how fast it is between intervals. It'll also do decimals as well. Then it's going to run every time that delay goes. It'll run through the whole system detecting if it has any of these tags. If it does have a tag, it'll run through and it'll select to play the next animation. If it doesn't, it'll add the tag, playing the animation. Remember, the random integers here are what detects where it's going to move out of certain spots. Because he has positioning here in the middle and he's got positioning here at the door, it picks between the 2 spots and teleports him accordingly. Now, he is deactive, yes, because I didn't come over here and click start the night yet. Which you're going to have to unlock real quick. Which I think in theory just started moving him. Yes, it did. Now, the only reason he was going so supersonic as he was before is because anytime I sit and run this, I forget whenever I run this, it activates it all, and I've run it a few times, so it supersonic sends him. you shouldn't have that issue. You can see he's moving as he should, very slowly. So whenever it detects that the proper number, or whenever it detects the delay, it'll move him accordingly. Now, you can have chance as well if you just add a few like more random integers. Like, for instance, if you take this integer and wire it into another thing and you slap it right here before it sends it to it, you can have it detect between 0 and 5. This is AI chance. What that'll do is it'll be like, hey, if it's at 2, it'll work. If it's at 4, it'll work. But if it's at any other number, it just won't do anything. Not moving him. Or it'll go and move another animatronic, depending on how you want it all set up. This is basically the entire system for one working animatronic. The door closing does properly work. If you don't close the door on him, and depending on your own time, it kills you. I know this video was kind of a bit of a mess for me to set up. I'm not really good at making tutorials on how to do AI, because I'm more so good at doing it than I am explaining it. But yeah, this is basically how to make a fully functional FNAF AI. Now let's go ahead and give it another test run, because it seems that I had stopped him. So we're going to start it back up. Just check if I'm getting any errors. Nope. Freddy should be moving. Yep. Move to the hallway here. Moves to the corner here. Moves to the door. Then because the door's not closed, he's gonna kill me. Or he should, at least. Yep. The reason it takes so long is because of the delay I have. Now, we're just gonna send a room loaded event, and then we're gonna unlock that. So everything's back to normal. We're gonna activate him again. This time, we're gonna wait. He's in the hallway. We're gonna close the door. He's out the door. He gets sent back. Now, I accidentally sent too many things, so he's going supersonic mode. If I close the door on him, it's going to send him back. But if you keep the door closed the whole time, and he comes zooming over to the door, he'll still get sent back. Pretty neat. Alright. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this video wasn't confusing. If it was, you can go through and like break down and like slowly pause and see what I could have done wrong, but I think the only issue I had was because I didn't make it to where it removed the tag after that. So yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I know it was kind of long and I had a few issues of my own, but you seen I sat and sorted them out. So if you ran into those issues because you were following my goofy self, you should have been figured out how to make it fully work. Now, it'd be so much appreciated if you like and subscribe. Helps me a ton, and it's free, and you can always unlike and unsubscribe later. Now, I will see you guys in the next video. Also, you can see why he's going supersonic. You see those delays here? They're going rapidly fast. To avoid that, you can just take the cancel wire into that cancel here. And then you can just wire it up after, like, whatever. Like that, for instance. Oh, yeah, he killed because the door wasn't open. But, yeah. Alright. Peace.